the game.
Coming at you live in the heart of Lincoln, America.
I say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
On air and online at theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Jake Bakoven and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Welcome into the Ticket Water Cooler here on 93.7 The Ticket. It is Good Since Friday, so my stomach is full. I don't know if Rico had a chance to eat his sandwich yet, but you just have to sit through me here as I get comfortable. As you guys settle in and find your seats as well. Of course, we always have our Friday tradition to have Brian Munson of Husker Online and On 3 on with us as well. So we'll go ahead and introduce him. Brian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. It's a good day to have you on. There's plenty of news to kind of talk about with Nebraska and the transfer portal. So let's go ahead and start there. Eric Gilbert, the big transfer, and when I say big, I mean big transfer from Georgia, the tight end. I'm sure a lot of people have kind of heard about his story by now, but if you could just kind of break it down and how Nebraska particularly got the interest of him.
Well, I mean, obviously he came in as a visitor last weekend. It was kind of, on the wraps. And obviously they had brought in both tight ends from Georgia last weekend, which of course is a little bit interesting. But there's a connection, back out of the Georgia coaching offices back to Matt Rule with one of the guys that are there now that he coached, back in college. But Gilbert is, I mentioned it in Tunnel Talk. Eric Gilbert. So number one, he was like the number 2 tight end in the class of 2020, and Fedoni was Gilbert was number 5 and Fedoni was number 2. I'm trying to remember how that worked, but you got 2 top 5 tight ends from 2021 and 2022, or 2020 and 2021 that are both now on the roster, and they'll both be in the room. And and Gilbert takes a lot of pressure off of that room, because that room, it's not like they don't have talent. You just don't know how, you don't have great confidence there because there's a lack of experience. The best guy that's in the room has suffered 2 season-ending injuries when it comes to his knee in Fedoni. And there are so many people that are looking forward to him getting on the field and having an opportunity to kind of put it all together. Cause I've read some stuff, about Niles Paul and not knowing who he was and just saying, comparing him to George Kittle. And that is really huge news when you start talking about the need for Nebraska to have a pass catcher, at that spot. And you lose Vokalek and you lost Brewington. And now you get Gilbert into the room, and he helps out with taking some of that pressure off the room and gives Fedoni a chance to kind of, ease back into it a little bit. Cause like we were talking offline, Fedoni is a competitor. He is an off the charts competitor. And he's going to have somebody kind of saving him from himself, because there's going to be some dangerous points and dangerous waters in kind of getting back into things, as opposed to jumping full in, into the deep end. You're going to want to ease yourself back in here a little bit. You're going to want to ramp up, as opposed to just, running that 4.5. You're going to want to run 75% speed for a while, and you're going to want to get your feet underneath you. And then all of a sudden you're going to want to take that brace off because you're realizing it's slowing you up, and then you're going to want to go ahead and get through it a little bit more. But what Gilbert does is he allows things to kind of slow down the process for Fedoni. He can kind of ramp up a little bit more gradually. Gilbert becomes the A1 guy in the room, where he's got to go ahead and get, into the strength and conditioning side and into the offense immediately, because that's essentially who your pass catching tight end will be until Fedoni can join him. And Fedoni then is more of that hybrid kind of move him around, tight end, as opposed to Gilbert, where he can do that, but he's still got the ability to put a hand in the dirt.
So you look at the tight end room right now for Nebraska. As you just said, Eric Gilbert probably more than likely going to be number 1. Fedoni, if he's healthy, because again, we're not sure if he'll make it through the entire offseason, because it's been 2 off seasons where he's gotten injured before the first game even gets here. If he is healthy, will more than likely be your number 2. And then after those 2, your most experienced tight end is a walk-on in Nate Borkacher, and a whole bunch of people who haven't really seen much time at tight end.
Right, exactly right. And that's why I'm saying, the room So Borkacher got thrown into some critical time last year. And obviously there were a couple of drops that I can recall. I couldn't remember what the games were, but I can obviously remember the images off the TV coverage, with Borkacher not necessarily having his hands up, when Thompson's throwing him the football, maybe he wasn't expecting it, not on the same page, etc. But this allows, I think, obviously to take a little bit more the pressure, not just off Fedoni, but obviously Borkacher that's probably sitting there in that third tight end kind of role. Plus, you lost Benjamin Bramer. Bramer's now going to Ames, Iowa. You didn't really have a guy that was in that 2023 class. You might be able to land a guy in Flores, this weekend is coming as an official visitor. But I mean, they're just the issues at the tight end room really began to stack up. And it's like when you lost Brewington, you lost Vokalek because leaving the program, and you lose Bramer because of the commitment, it puts a focus on Carter Nelson. It puts a focus back on the portal transfer, and it puts a focus back on Fedoni. And those are really the three names that you guys, we got to start talking about, as well as Borkacher that's back there a little bit more into the depth of the room. But you had to get somebody. It's the same kind of scenario you had it at the quarterback position. You can't have Thompson and Smothers on the sideline thinking that one of those are your two guys come fall, and not have a healthy guy coming in there that you feel like if Thompson or Smothers is not, can challenge this guy during the summer, I would be able to live with that, as opposed to not having a guy that can take the snaps that you feel like could be your number one guy during the spring.
Now, going back to Gilbert too, I maybe you can answer this real quick. I saw a lot of people kind of wondering about him transferring around so much. Is he going to need a waiver from the NCAA, and why is that seemingly not a bigger part of the story?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. This is his fourth school, is that right? Or is it his third?
He went fourth, because he went from Georgia from LSU to Florida for about 2 weeks, and then to Georgia.
And I don't know if necessarily that time there at Georgia is going to count against him. That'd be like one of those things there where, those transfers, they don't sign any type of binding, paperwork. It's not like an NOI, like the NOI, that binding piece of thing that you're going to get out of the recruiting class. So I don't know if there's a technicality around that. It would seem that if there was any type of holdups, I'm just kind of speculating here based on that question, because I didn't know how to answer it the first time I saw it online. I would think it would impact maybe his immediate eligibility in the fall. I'm not going to tell you that he probably wouldn't be able to practice with the team, but maybe they would have to seek out a waiver to get him eligible to play immediately in the fall. So again, I think I'd have to dig into that a little bit. I would love to kind of track that one down a little bit more. I'm not comfortable necessarily answering that 100%.
Well, the other question that sometimes I don't warn you, I just come up with these questions, but the other question that I have here is, he, as far as you can remember, because I know his ranking coming out of high school is incredibly high. I believe it's higher than anybody. It depends on what service you go through or whatever. But is he the highest? If Nebraska got him right out of high school, would he be the highest rated commit that Nebraska ever landed?
Well, he was the number 5 national, number 1 tight end, and the number 1 player in the state of Georgia. I'm thinking now. Well, let's see. Would MJ be another guy that's going to enter into the equation? Because I think that he was also a 5-star as well. I would say right now I'm leaning more towards yes. That would be truthful, and that would be an honest statement. I think there maybe is a couple of wrinkles now that since the portal transfer has kind of come up. Prior to that, I think you've only had about 4 other 5-stars. That kind of predates the On3 network, obviously, when you start talking about like DeMario Williams and guys like that. But there's only been a handful of 5-star guys that have ever picked Nebraska, and then the portal transfer stuff kind of adds another wrinkle to that.
So we're speaking with Brian Munson of On3 Husker Online. From one room with concerns and some additions to another room with concerns and additions. The wide receiver room, they added Billy Kemp out of the transfer portal, and they get Isaiah Garcia Castaneda to withdraw his name from the portal and somehow get Xavier Betts to come back to the team. How much better does the wide receiver room look now than it did last week?
Well, I think it does obviously look better. Look, Kemp is, to me, Kemp is a guy that Nebraska has to be looking at is going to likely be their number one, pass catching wide receiver going into the spring. He has those stats. He's got that experience, obviously playing for the Cavaliers. There really was a lack of having that top guy, and I think that there's going to be some things that can kind of help him along. I mean, obviously you got Marcus Washington, you got Alontae Brown, you got other guys there that were still talented in the room, but you just didn't have that one guy that was just, the Trey Palmer stats walked, and there's not a way to kind of even sum the rest of the stats basically in the room to equal what Palmer did. So you were really looking for that kind of security blanket that Sims and Thompson and Smothers and all the other quarterbacks are going to be looking for. And I think that that's what Nebraska felt like they were getting in Kemp. Now, you bring back Castaneda. He has a catch against Northwestern, then he has another catch and a fumble against Oklahoma, and then it was just like checkout time. There was not another way to kind of reconnect with him because it just seemed like everything was just went south and sideways. And then was Xavier Bett. I mean, obviously, it seemed like he's had a change of heart or some things have changed with him personally to want to get back into the football game. And I think that the one thing that's been very, very clear about Matt Rule and his staff is that they are understanding. They are listening to every one of the players that sit down and want to talk to them about what has happened to them on their journey and taking it all as an individual case basis or a case-by-case basis versus broad brush strokes and that these aren't my guys and these aren't the guys I need to take care of because I'm bringing my own guys in. That's not been the approach of Matt Rule and his staff. They have listened to the players that were there that they inherited, and the obviously a guy like Betts that said, hey, I was here and some things were happening and now some other things have happened and I want to come back. So I think the room looks better. Look, I think that that's a low risk, high reward kind of thing. To where, if you're getting anything basically out of the spring, then good on you for going ahead and providing at least a chance for those guys to come back and maybe potentially find a way either to get back out again because they have some practice film or join the team in a more consistent role. But then, I think Kemp is going to be that guy. I think that there's several wide receivers that are going to be very interesting, kind of throwing their hat in the ring and being productive as part of that group as well. There are going to be several new names and faces in that room. And it's going to be very interesting to see Coach McGuire kind of navigate his way through it.
Well, and you mentioned new names. I mean, there's a lot of new. I think I was looking at it with the 33 additions out of high school and in the portal now. That's about 40% of the roster. That's of a 85-man roster. Nebraska now, with you look at the scholarship distribution, is at 97. I know we talked about this before and potentially making cuts. Is there a point at which they're so far over? I'm starting to wonder. I've seen some other schools do this, where you have guys that are walk-ons but get NIL. Have you heard any of that in play potentially for Nebraska being so overloaded in the scholarship side of things?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that isn't going to be a scenario potentially. I did hear that from a portal transfer player in December that was what a school was throwing at them, that they were at their 85. They didn't have a spot for him. And they did feel like NIL, although they couldn't really speak to it, that could play a role in obviously getting him to consider that team. I'm not going to tell you that that's not going to potentially play a role here at all. It could. I think it's risky. I think look at what happened with the quarterback down there at Florida, like $13 million guaranteed whatever, and being released from his NLI. That's pretty far out there in comparison to, talking about a scholarship or doing something to kind of offset the walk-on kind of aspect of wanting to be a Cornhusker, not being as part of the 85 scholarship group, but having some source of an income there to kind of help offset all of that stuff. I could see that playing a role. I just have not heard of that coming up anywhere yet to where it's something that people should be expecting.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm looking at the other spots, like some, we always talk about the needs on the chart, who they're going to go after, and now I'm kind of starting to think of, well, where do they have too many? But in that line, is there? I know the transfer portal closed. Can players still commit to different schools? And do you see Nebraska still out there hunting, adding more to the picture?
Well, I mean, if they are, it wouldn't surprise me. I think that they can still accept a commitment because technically, I don't know. The window has closed, and I don't know if we should be still anticipating visitors this weekend from the portal because classes haven't technically started, and it's still kind of that open period. I need to go back and re-review my recruiting calendar. I don't recall them saying anything about portal guys not being able to take another visit here. But I think that there was an interesting name that came up, and I'm trying to remember. It was an Oklahoma offensive tackle that people might have suggested that there was maybe something to go along the lines of like Walter Rouse, and maybe those two things being related. Nebraska really is going to have to be, it's going to be circled on their board somewhere. The offensive tackle position is going to be something that they have to evaluate right away in the spring, because if they aren't able to host any more guys and they're not able to add any more guys out of the portal, I don't really assume that they're looking for any of the 2023 recruiting class to step up and be ready to play next year. So you're kind of then doing it through the spring with what you've got. And that assessment then needs to lead you to putting your face back into the portal more than likely and trying to find, missing out on a Walter Rouse and getting another guy like that to come in or two and taking some more of the pressure off of those guys that have been asked to step up and play very early in their careers. And we know that the development necessarily wasn't really all there. So you want to do that to help your team out and get that group back on more of a development plan as opposed to meeting the early contributors out of the high school commitment class.
Final question here. I know when Nate was here, he would always ask you about Malachi Coleman. It was a weekly thing. Well, now we've moved on. Malachi's in the fold. Now the weekly question is going to have to be Dylan Raiola. Of course, when Frost and Steph was here and Raiola picked Ohio State, it didn't feel like Nebraska was like second or third. Now you hear his top four. It feels like Nebraska's in there. Might not be the favorite, but at least it's in there. What are your kind of thoughts on Dylan Raiola? What's kind of been the movement there over the last week or two?
Well, obviously in the top four, Sipple and Chad Simmons both had some really good stuff on Raiola, throughout the week. I think people have to start understanding here that, I think that the legacy side is going to play into it somewhat, but Nebraska is going to have to, that's a Dom. Dom wasn't a tremendous player, but Dom doesn't want to influence his son's decision because that's a resentful kind of thing if it doesn't really turn out to be a positive, and you influence it the other way, a different way, and it ends up being a bad scenario and a bad commitment. So I think what you have to really pay close attention to is how Nebraska is kind of going to continue to start to build that bond, because that bond is, although Dylan has got a soft spot for Nebraska, it still has to be, kind of propped back up again with what Matt Rule and Coach Satterfield kind of have in mind. And there was some really good stuff in Tunnel Talk today from Steve about the conversations between Dom and Satterfield. And I know Nebraska was out there last week, checking out Dylan and checking out the high school. So that is going to be something that I would anticipate every single week that Nebraska can get out there to Chandler to check out the Raiolas whenever they can during a contact period. In the evaluation period, they'll be back up in April. I would totally anticipate them being out there every single week because they are definitely going to want to stay in that sweepstakes. And it doesn't sound like Dylan necessarily is anticipating choosing another school anytime soon. It really feels like he's backing off and wants to really take another good full view of the evaluation of these schools, which is really in Nebraska's favor.
He is Brian Munson of Husker Online and On 3, always joining us here on a Friday. We're always appreciative. Thanks again for your time and information.
Have a great weekend, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you. There he goes, Brian Munson, once again of Husker Online and On 3. We'll take a break here on the Ticket Water Cooler, and when we come back, we'll talk some more about the going in NFL play and Blake Corum. Surprising maybe to some that he returned to Michigan for another year.
There's a reason.
There might be a reason. We'll tell you what that is.
I want to.
Coming up next year on the Ticket 93.7 Ticket. Jake Bachman here. Let me tell you about my friends at Solarion. I've been working as a participant in clinical trials for many years. They help develop new pharmaceutical products, and I get to be a part of it. All I do is check the website for possible studies that might apply to me, see if they fit, and if I'm eligible for participation within the parameters laid out, I can make up to $500 per day in a study and feel confident in the staff and research done by Solarion to be a willing participant. Last year, more than 800 people completed a study in Lincoln, and I was one of them and will continue to be. If you're curious about how to earn up to $500 per day by participating in a research study at Solarion, and with the several options for scheduling, check them out at helpresearch.com/new or call them at 866-213-2965. Once again, that's Solarion at 866-213-2965 or at helpresearch.com/new.
The Lincoln Stars look to add to their dominance on home ice as they face the Sioux City Musketeers on Friday, January 20th at the Icebox. It's the first time that the defending Clark Cup champions are in Lincoln this season, and you won't want to miss the action. The puck drops at 7:05 p.m., and you can purchase your tickets now online at lincolnstars.com or by calling 402-474-7827.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What are you doing, Sip?
I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a motion-censored switchboard. Duh.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course. Ow! God! Ow!
Seems like a job for a professional.
Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there.
Don't be like Sip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415.
A new year means new goals and upgrading, but that doesn't only apply to health and fitness. Mullen Motors can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2023 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2022 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Lake.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club or space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? No, forget that. How about a margarita club? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge and join the best club in town. 10 flavors of margaritas like Maui Wowie, burnt pineapple, and mango tango. Try all 10 of them and receive your own souvenir margarita glass. Make it your new Monday night tradition. $4 margaritas and $4 taco baskets. Grab the crew and head on over Monday nights or any night. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for technicians of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package with 100% paid employee health insurance, paid time off, paid parental and bereavement leave, an annual recreation bonus, and a boot and clothing allowance. Landmark offers the latest certified John Deere training, so you're up to date with the newest equipment and technology. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmark.careers. Landmark Implement is an equal opportunity employer.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, wanting to say Happy New Year and thank you to all of you for your continued support. We have just closed out another outstanding year, and we want to start 2023 off with a bang. The new GMC and Chevrolet inventory continues to roll in, and I'll actually be picking up my 2023 GMC later this month. So with interest rates continuing to climb, Cobble is partnering with General Motors and now offering 2.9% APR on select models. So we invite you to the dealership. Check us out online at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit, and you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour, an opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Wingstop on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Ticket Water Cooler. Happy Friday. Happy Good Sense Friday for us here in the station. It can be a Good Sense Friday for you as well. Head on down to Good Sense and get yourself a delicious sub. I already ate mine up. Did you have a nice lunch there, Rico?
Mine's over there.
Oh, you don't
I haven't
eaten
eaten it yet. So I got my workout in and I forgot that it was Friday. So I brought my own lunch. So I ate that as soon as I got back. So I still working through that, but I'll probably down that before I leave today. It's a good sandwich.
It is.
I got me some kettle cooked barbecue chips.
Oh, there you go.
I'm excited. I love kettle cooked chips.
We were mentioning before we went to break that it's kind of interesting just to kind of dive through and still try to figure out the NIL, how that plays in at each college and what these numbers are. Blake Corum, of course, the All-American running back from Michigan, first unanimous all-team All-American, first-team All-American running back at Michigan since 1947, if you can believe that.
Jeez.
Should
have been a Heisman finalist.
Should have been a Heisman finalist if he had he stayed healthy and basically had Donovan Edwards' stat line in the Ohio State game. And then in the Big Ten championship game, probably would have won.
He wins
the
the
Heisman.
Heisman.
Yeah, because I think he's the story of the year, and he kind of gets that Dad Hutchinson bump for being at Michigan and being interesting and all that. But in any case, he has decided to come back. And Michigan has created an NIL fund called the One More Year Fund, where it's basically their attempt to bring in these stellar players that are going to be NFL draft eligible. And at the head of that is Blake Corum, obviously this season. And it's reported out there that he is going to receive seven figures, $1 million, upon his return, which certainly helps out.
That is a decent chunk of change.
That's not too bad for what you got going on there at Michigan. Of course, maybe in the NFL you could still make some more. So we'll kind of see.
He definitely would have made more, but he wouldn't have made as much as he should have because he got hurt. He wouldn't have been taken as early as he would have before. So as long as he has another good year, he'll maybe get drafted. I want to say first round because he's a first round talent, but nobody ever wants to take running backs anymore because like, oh, we're only going to have him for like 5 years. But he's easily a second. He's easily one of the first running backs gone.
Yeah.
I say one of the top 3 running backs gone. I don't know what next year's running back class looks like, but top 3 running back taken in next year's draft, which obviously is more than $1 million. But in order to get healthy and maybe, if he wants to get his master's, if he's that close to it, one more year, you get $1 million, you play some more football, and then you go to the NFL.
But what's even more interesting now to me is Jalen Rashada, who is the Florida quarterback he transferred. He was going to commit to Florida, and the NIL package that they have put down together for him was $13 million. Now, and then the NIL collective backed out of that, said, yeah, we can't do that. And now Florida has granted Rashada his release from his national letter of intent, which leads you to believe he's going to be going around looking for money. And then, there's the latest report that you had that Colorado is now in after him, which
Colorado and Arizona State
continues to confuse things because if he's looking for 13 million, or if maybe he doesn't get that much, but if he's still looking for some money, how's Colorado, who has their own problems even paying Dion, going to get 13 million out? And then the other question is, I know he's a quarterback, but how's a quarterback, a freshman high school quarterback, going to be worth 13 while a All-American running back, proven possibly Heisman finalist, going to get 1?
No, that makes sense. Well, his 13 is for the 3 years.
It
4
is
years.
for 4 years, yeah.
So it's 13 divided by 4. I'm not even going to pretend to do the math because I don't want to.
12 divided by 4 is easy enough. 3 point something.
So 3 point something. That's still more than Blake Corum.
Yes.
I don't know, man. The money that's being thrown around is ridiculous. I'm still for NIL. Words are
you
hard.
for national letters of intent?
I am for national letters of intent. NIL.
Yeah.
And I agree with it, and I think the athletes should be paid. But some of the money being thrown around, some of the figures that are being thrown around for some of these players, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how much some of these guys are getting paid. And I get it. They're bringing in buku loads of money for these universities when they're playing on Saturdays and, if they go to bowl games and et cetera and what have you. I get that. But at the same time, like, you get one guy on your team making $13 million, and, if he could spread the love a little bit, everybody get paid, everybody be fat and happy. But that sometimes that doesn't happen. Not to say that he wouldn't have done that, but sometimes that doesn't happen. One
CJ
person
Stroud,
gets,
for example, is treating everybody to
oh
like
yeah,
a suit and everything.
but every once in a while you get those guys that they're getting the money and that's their money. That's that's all me. I don't know. It's interesting to see how much some of these universities believe some of these players are worth.
Yeah. And you wonder too here in Lincoln, when it kind of gets ramped up, when Nebraska starts winning again, what those numbers will be, and just kind of what the recruiting classes will look as part of it. I mean, we talked about that first segment, and basically the last couple of days in Husker Nation's been just everybody talking about Eric Gilbert and what a big get he is. And of course, this recruiting class is looking pretty good. It's kind of interesting though, I guess, even because I was starting to think, okay, how does this rank compared to last year's? Because now you're starting to get some names up there. It's like, okay, well, Ben Scott, that's a big name on the offensive line. You get the two kids out of Georgia, defending champions, former 5-stars. That's pretty big. So I was thinking, that might be, this is pretty close on par with what you did last year. The transfer rating right now for Nebraska is number 29 in the nation. Of course, they were number 7 last season. Does that surprise you at all?
No.
Of course,
not
you had
really.
Casey and O'Shawn Mathis and Trey Palmer.
It just they got a lot bigger names, but I think this class, although it's not up there in the name cat, look, that was a big one.
That's a big one.
That was a Bleak Road, also big one. Those were big ones. That's why they were up at 7. It was Bushini. That's he bumped them up there. Not O'Shawn, not Casey. It was Bushini. Although the names aren't going to blow you away with this class, and that's why they're sitting at 29th. I think they've addressed a lot of the issues that they were going to have going into the season. And although, again, they're not with the biggest of names, I think that it's also just added depth. And some of these guys aren't, one and done. Some of these guys are going to be here for 2 years, some maybe even 3 years at Nebraska. So it's kind of building towards the future as well. Whereas last year was we need to get it done this year. And then, it didn't get done, but they were getting big names to get, 1 year of success. And unfortunately it didn't follow.
Well, and I wonder too, and I'd have to look a little bit more into it, is if, it's just maybe the transfer portal as the more, like, there's more teams getting 10 or 12.
There are also a lot of teams getting bigger names.
Yeah. A little bit. It seems a little.
If they would have got
more
Walter Rouse, they would have been up there a little.
Yeah,
higher.
Maybe a little bit higher.
That was a big name.
Texas A&M, by the way, they've been the big loser, of course, over the offseason.
Everyone
with the transfer portal, they've lost 25 scholarship players in one offseason now. 18 were blue chip recruits. 8 were top 100 recruits, including 2 5-stars. 7 were freshmen from that top ranked 2022 recruiting class. So a lot of things falling apart for Jimbo Fisher there.
But he made 2 crucial hires. So that's a thing that's happening also.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting to follow along what they've got going there. Bobby Petrino back in college football, major college football.
Down in Texas.
Love to see it. Speaking of Texas, too, I saw this on College Football Reddit. In College Station, of course, they have a big rivalry with Texas there, but there are Whataburgers. It's the South. Mm-hmm. And the Whataburger is colors are orange and white, and that's the Texas colors. So
yeah, but it's more of a Tennessee orange.
It is, but still, apparently in College Station, they wanted to make sure at Whataburger that you knew they were Texas A&M fans. So all 7 Whataburger restaurants in College Station have at least a stripe, and in some of them more, a stripe of a maroon roof with the Texas A&M logo on it. You like that? That's appeasing the locals.
That's dumb.
That's too much.
It's dumb. It's unnecessary. Those are your colors. Everybody recognizes you for that. You don't have to appease the locals in College Station just because, oh no, it's orange and white. It's Texas. I'm not going to eat there. No, you're still going to eat there because you like your Whataburger. Don't do that.
You would think
you don't need to you don't need to put a stripe with the logo. Just put like a sticker on the door, like Texas A&M fans eat here. Texas fans allowed.
A little paint's not going to cost you that much. Maybe
it's dumb.
Bringing some more business.
That's dumb.
You don't like it.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just dumb. That's like if Nebraska had,
silly.
I don't know, someplace here that was like yellow and black,
Yeah.
and they were just like, no, we need a red stripe somewhere on there.
Do you like the restaurants? There are many restaurants around here that have like Nebraska memorabilia, Big Ten stuff hanging around. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it.
You know where you're at. You get here and you're just like, oh, Big Ten.
Yes,
Big Ten country.
Big Ten country. That's what
Soon
I
that'll
love.
be California.
That's right. Very confusing. I saw, by the way, Bronny, LeBron James' son, has
Down to 3.
Has Oregon, Ohio State, and USC. So it's kind of a bit, or maybe it was UCLA. Either way,
It was USC.
It's a bit of an adjustment now to say, well, that's 2 out of 3. Pretty good chance he's playing in the Big Ten then.
I mean, depending on how the future of the Big Ten is, it could be 3.
Yeah, maybe they'll buy
Bronny,
get
just
Oregon by the time.
Bronny playing in the Big Ten.
Bronny's a Big Ten guy. I think
Yeah,
we
he
all
is.
feel that. And of course, if LeBron did play, there's a pretty good chance he would have played at Ohio State. So
He did say he would have gone to Duke.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know either. He goes to a lot of Ohio State.
Bronny's going to Ohio State unless Braun stays in LA. Then he's going to USC. Oregon's just there because he needed 3.
Interesting theory.
Sorry, Dana.
All right, let's take a quick break here on the Ticket Water Cooler. Get ready for the crossover with Happy Hour coming up next on 93.7 Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, wanting to say Happy New Year and thank all of you for continued support. We have just closed out another outstanding year. We want to start 2023 off with a bang. The new GMC and Chevrolet inventory continues to roll, and I'll actually be picking up my 2023 GMC later this month. So with interest rates continuing to climb, Cobble is partnering with General Motors and now offering 2.9% APR on select models. So we invite you to the dealership. Check us out online at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
People first is more than a nice sentiment. At American Senior Benefits, it's the mission. If you're ready for a career where you can truly put your customers' needs ahead of everything else, this is for you. American Senior Benefits is one of the leading senior market insurance product distributors in the country, and they're looking for high-energy applicants with strong communication skills. Enjoy on-the-job training, a fun work environment, and unlimited income potential. Visit ASBMidwest.com to learn more. American Senior Benefits.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Start planning for the 2023 deer season at the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo. Join us Friday, January 20th through Sunday, January 22nd at the Lancaster Event Center in Lincoln. There are informative hunting seminars, a blind giveaway, hunting and outdoor exhibitors, a big buck and monster shed contest, 3D shoot, and a whole lot more. Veteran owned and operated. Get your tickets at NebraskaDeerAndGameExpo.com. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 20th through 22nd at the Lancaster Event Center in Lincoln. Presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Joint pain can affect your quality of life and even be debilitating. Perhaps you've had trouble walking or even performing activities as simple as sitting down and standing up for years. There is good news thanks to QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics can assist with all types of pain in the knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints, whether due to an underlying chronic condition or a recent or even former accident or sports injury. Call QC Kinetics in Lincoln today at 402-205-4270 or go to qckinetics.com.
Let me share something to make life just a little easier. It's just one word, Bryant. If we need service on our furnace or AC, we call Bryant. Same thing goes for an electrical issue. If I have a problem with my faucet, a toilet, a drain, or a water heater, I don't need to know how to fix something. I just need to know who to call. And at our house, it's Bryant.
Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Just one call. 467-1111. Remember, we do whatever it takes.
Come see the state's largest display of John Deere equipment at Acres Ag and Turf Expo. Acres Ag professionals and suppliers will be on hand to discuss techniques from tillage and planting to application and harvest. Also, don't miss the full lineup of John Deere mowers and compact tractors. Join us at Grand Island Fauner Park February 21st and 22nd or the Lincoln Lancaster Event Center March 8th and 9th. Go to acres.com to request your free tickets today.
Steve's Garage Doors and Services is under new management, but has the same great service as before. If your current garage door seems outdated or isn't working properly, call their new number at 402-480-2840 to schedule service or get a new door ordered. Steve's can repair most types of garage doors and can always point you in the right direction to get the job done. Give Steve's Garage Doors and Services a call today at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Back to the Ticket Water Cooler. Brought to you by Wingstop on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Ticket Water Cooler here on 93.7 The Ticket. It is time for the crossover with Rico and Nick. And we've got plenty to talk about. A little bit of breaking news here. Michigan has fired co-offensive coordinator Matt Weiss as he is, I can't even tell what's going on there. It's kind of secretive about what's going on. He was on the computer in Schembechler Hall, and that's about as much as has been released there. So I don't know. I don't know what that means, but you can get in trouble on a computer at a work office. I know that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That is interesting.
Do you want some not as breaking news because it happened 50 minutes ago?
Sure.
Kind of Nebraska related. Browns offensive line coach Bill Callahan turned down request to interview for Jets offensive coordinator job. He's getting an extension and staying with the Browns.
But he's as an offensive line coach. Huh?
Yes.
Sonny Weaver doing a good job there.
Sure.
Whatever, man.
Shout out to Draft Day, one of the greatest movies.
Is that
Whatever, man.
Yeah, it's from the movie Draft Day.
It is.
Sonny Weaver Jr.
What you talking
Oh,
about?
that's Kevin
that's the
Costner.
name, yeah.
Well, at least they're
Bill
keeping
Callahan
Bill
being-
Callahan
Gosh, come on.
interested.
Being great
I
with-
was bummed that didn't land better.
No.
No, that
it is
movie
what it
was
is.
bad.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Unrealistic.
It's not realistic. I know
Yeah.
that, but like, I mean, hey, what a trade by Sonny Weaver Jr.
Plus, you don't get like the end
They got
of the
Vontae
story.
Mack. They got Vontae Mack, and they didn't get Callahan.
Should have used real names.
They should have.
I was like, what
Like
was
Moneyball.
What was Callahan's name?
Bo Callahan.
Bo Callahan. That's a good name, though.
So close.
Played for Wisconsin. huh?
Nobody went to his birthday party.
Oh, man. Poor guy.
That's why they did.
That's why you shouldn't draft
I mean,
him.
think about this. What are we saying? It's definitely realistic.
Nobody went to his
scout's
birthday.
job.
Nobody
Yeah.
went to his birthday party. Nobody likes him. He's not a good teammate. Boom. Don't draft him.
Nobody went to Bryce Young's birthday party, so he's not going to be the number one overall pick next year.
Was Nebraska
Makes
like
sense to
in the
me.
film? I thought I was like excited for some reason because Nebraska was like in what's his name, Bo Callahan's film or something.
No, it was
Because he went to Wisconsin.
yeah, he went to Wisconsin. He was playing Ohio State, and Vontae Mack had a great game against Bo Callahan.
Oh, that's
sacked
right.
him a couple times. But then when Vontae Mack and Sonny Weaver pointed this out to his front office guys, they said, "Why is when Bo Callahan made a good play?" He goes, "Notice who's not on the field," and everybody's like, "Who?" And he's like, "Where's Vontae?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, that's right. He got ejected because he handed the football to his mom in the crowd."
How
I
dare
just
you.
like how a front office full of NFL people are like, oh, yeah. What would be the biggest storyline in college football that week? We completely forgot.
It's like no, and it was funny because like the assistant GM is like who's like the I don't want to say villain, but like the bad guy or the
He's the
mean
villain.
guy.
Yeah,
He's the
yeah.
villain.
And for the Browns was like he handed it to some girl in the stands, and Sonny Weaver's like, it's not his girlfriend, guys, it's his mom. She died 3 weeks later from cancer. And
Jeez.
they were like, oh, it's different then. And he's like, so where's Vontae?
Oh,
And
my
they're like,
goodness.
Bo Callahan's only a good quarterback when Vontae Mack is not lined up across from him.
Then Bo Callahan drops to like a 7th pick overall.
Goodness gracious.
Because everybody's scared to draft Bo Callahan because the Browns passed him up.
And didn't the Browns?
He's like Josh Rosen. I remember all 6 people drafted ahead of me.
He took receipts.
Didn't they draft a running back pretty early too? I thought that was
a
part of
legacy
the
guy.
Yeah,
A legacy guy from Florida State.
Wow.
I'm like, this is dumb. This is really stupid.
They got everything they wanted. They got all their picks.
This seems
back.
like me on Madden.
That's what I'm saying. It made me.
Have you ever done that where
Roger
like you
Goodell
have a
was in
really
it.
you ever done that where you have a really good team, so you're just like, okay, I'm just going to like trade like some of my players for first round picks in the future,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you just try to make it so that you trade a running back to a team that already had or isn't going to use him correctly, like you just know, so they're going to have a bad pick, so you get their first round pick, and so then like the next
yeah.
draft comes around and you have like the first 7 picks in the draft, and it's like, yeah, I'm the best.
People forget that Roger Goodell was in the movie Draft Day.
Yeah.
He was there's the commissioner. Wasn't
I
there?
forget that too because I watched it once and said I'm never gonna.
I wonder
watch
how
it.
much. I wonder how much you got paid to be.
This is embarrassing.
to
But I
cameo.
bought it on Amazon Prime.
Of course you did.
I bought Draft Day. I've bought 2 movies on Amazon Prime. Draft Day, actually 3. Draft Day, Fred Claus,
Jeez,
and Ocean's 11.
What are you waiting for?
Only
like, the
one of those is
99
good.
cent sale or
Yeah, only
something?
one
No,
of those is good.
no. Fred Claus, I continue to say it every Christmas time, is one of the most underrated Christmas movies out there.
I actually watched Fred Claus like during Christmas
It's
time
great.
because I hadn't watched it in a while.
Yeah.
Still bad.
No, it's not.
Never seen it. Never had an interest.
Well, you should have an interest.
Shout out to
It's
Vince
about
Vaughn.
Yeah, but here's the deal: is the brothers need to save Christmas. So, and the actual Santa is hurt on his back because he's a little overweight, so he can't get up and deliver presents. So his brother, who's in very good shape, has to.
But also, the
deliver
North
presents.
Pole is in danger
It's
of
about to
shutting
shut
down.
because Four-Eyed Clyde wants to shut down Christmas.
Damn you, Four-Eyed Clyde.
And did they go through like the logistics of going to every house and like
Nah, they didn't walk
No.
through that.
No.
Nah.
It just
because we don't need to know that.
Speaking of Vince Vaughn, I just watched The Internship yesterday. Again,
that's when they go to Google basically.
Google. Great
Yeah.
movie. Great
Is it
movie.
actually Google or they call it something else?
No, it's Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's what I
actually
thought,
Google.
yeah.
Great movie.
That wasn't bad, was it? Is Owen Wilson in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Vince Vaughn and
sales.
Owen Wilson
They're
are pretty
salesmen.
good.
They lose their jobs, so they get the internship there. They're obviously the oldest two there. They go through the whole thing, and it's great.
I think somebody's listening to us and wanting Wendy's because we just got a Wendy's order.
Ooh.
Yeah,
we just got a Wendy's
Sorry,
order.
we
Dave's
can't get that.
Dave's
Dave.
single combo with the spicy
Let's play
chicken
the song.
sandwich.
We have to play the song.
Yeah,
I can't
it's
say
in
it. Just search wrong number text and it's all good to go.
It might take a second.
Yeah, it's fine. But we can pass the time. But we got a Wendy's order coming up. But
Da, 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 da,
yeah.
da,
All right,
da,
guys, how pumped are we for
da,
football?
da, 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 da. Pretty pumped.
I'm staying strong on my prediction that the Cowboys beat the 49ers.
Wow.
I would not like that,
Would you say that in the room if Chubba Purdy was in here?
but I would
I
like
would.
that. I would.
You would.
I would like that
Chubba, because I don't
because I.
how weird is it? to
How do
me
I
to
say this without sounding like a jerk?
How weird is it for me to say this? If Chubba Purdy was in this room, I would say, listen, it's not your brother that's going to lose you the game. Unfortunately, if Dak Prescott plays like he did against the Buccaneers, I don't know if anybody can stop the offense.
Except Brett Maher.
Except Brett
Yeah.
Maher. Brett Maher.
That's
He's
going to be
back.
interesting.
He's okay. Dak's
They
coming
released.
back.
They
Dak
released
and-
the audio.
not Dak. CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, they
That's
released
Brett
the
Maher's
audio
back.
of him saying "Go for bleeping too."
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying, "I hope the next time he throws a pick, the camera pans to Brett Maher on the sideline and just goes, run the damn ball."
Yeah. It'll be interesting when a pressure field goal or something this weekend to see what Maher does.
Oh, he'll be
But,
alive. He'll be alive.
That'll be crazy.
So you texted us. You didn't mean to. You can't take it back. Now we have to read it. Because you texted us. You texted us. Ooh, you texted us.
Corey and Lincoln would like somebody to pick him up a Dave single combo with a spicy chicken sandwich on the side and a Frosty.
It's a good deal.
No fries?
Well, the combo comes
Single
with fries.
combo.
Oh, the prompt. Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
So
Boy,
two sandwiches.
Corey, you're eating
Corey,
a lot.
you're
today,
hungry.
yeah.
2 sandwiches and a Frosty. So the Frosty instead of the drink?
Does
or
he
the
dip-
Frosty with the drink?
Will he dip his fries in the frosty?
There's going to be an upcharge.
What kind of Frosty?
There's going to be an upcharge.
You ever had the strawberry one?
No.
Oh,
From Wendy's, I thought
yeah.
they just had.
No, they changed
Chocolate.
it was for like a limited time. I don't know if they made it permanent or if they kept it, but they swapped the vanilla for strawberry, so you could get chocolate or strawberry. That strawberry one hit different.
Here, I'm gonna make a bold take. Strawberry shakes and strawberry malts, better than chocolate shakes and chocolate malts.
I'm a vanilla guy myself. I keep
Really?
it plain, yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty
Some
simple.
malt, yeah.
Don't say it, Rico. Don't say it. I know exactly what you're thinking.
No, I ain't gonna
Don't say it.
Strawberry is delicious.
Strawberry is I like McDonald's.
Sign me up
strawberry
for
shake
look.
and-
I found out that I'm a big fan of frozen strawberry confections. Confections, ice cream, frosties, milkshakes.
Interesting.
You put strawberry flavor in there, delicious.
You know, Wendy's always offers me when I go in there during the winter, like, hey, you want like 300 Frosties for a nickel to help some kids out? And I'm always like, no. What is that deal? They always offer you like.
Bot goes, first off, it's cold outside, so I want Frosties. And secondly, I don't care about them kids.
Yeah. Well, it's just like if I want a little like I'm just not a Frosty guy. I guess I don't want 300 Frosties. I'm sorry.
My grandparents.
I'd take
this
300
might be
Frosties.
bad to say. I feel like Frosties are an old people delicacy.
No, they're just a
My
delicacy.
grandparents, whenever they drive to Lincoln from Dorchester,
Get some
Nebraska,
Frosties?
it's like we gotta stop.
Definitely
Nick,
some
they're like,
Frosties.
Nick, if you want to stop for lunch, we'll be at the Wendy's getting a Frosty.
Hell yeah, you will.
And I'm like, no, I'm okay.
And I'll get one. And I'll get one too. Tell
good,
me next time they come in, I'll get a Frosty with them.
Happy hour is coming up next. It'll be it for the Ticket Water Cooler. Stay tuned.
Vershawn Jackson, the captain here.